Hello, and welcome to episode 569, nice, of the Awesome Comics Podcast, the place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. My name is Vince Hunt, and normally I'm more mature than this, but it's quite warm in the UK. And so joining me to drink a cold beverage and talk about comics is the artist and creator of Vanguard, the epic webcomic that just melts faces like a UK summer. It's Daniel Butcher.
Hello.
And Tony Esmond. At Club Tropicana, the drinks are free. Fun and laughter. There's enough for everyone. But do we have to pay for food?
I am wearing a Club Tropicana shirt, aren't I? In all honesty.
Yeah. I mean, on the camera, I'm not quite sure how many buttons you've got done up, Tony. It's troubling for me because I'm so aroused.
Honestly, I'm in a room surrounded by fucking boxes of paper, which I decided to stupidly move around at like fucking. I'll take you a picture tonight. So move around at like 7 o'clock this morning, and I was just like drenched in sweat when one of the comic boxes broke.
Yeah, I don't think comic book people think about this as well. If you've got shelves and boxes of comic books lining, we all want that library, but essentially you've just insulated yourself to all of the heat.
Yeah, it's the warmest room in the UK. I'm going to say this.
Nice, nice. But welcome to the show, everyone. It's the summer hasn't officially started yet, but it's hot enough for us.
If it's this hot tomorrow, doesn't it technically make it a heat wave? I think is what they're saying.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Bloody hell, yeah. We have had a glorious weekend of sunshine. We hope you have been enjoying it. Been healthy wherever you are in the world, actually. We hope you've had a lovely weekend, but we're here to talk about comics, and oh boy, are we going to go in on the art form this week in a brilliant way, because we had a brilliant chat with the one and only Cory Tran.
Oh, how good was he?
And
been glazing Cory and his work up for years.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
we say this every time it works out, but when they turn out to be good guys, or good girls, or good women, or whatever we're going to call them, it's a joy. And he turned out to be such a nice dude who considers questions we ask him with a lot of thought, and brought out a lot of things I haven't considered before. And I've talked shit 569 episodes. So
I mean, the thing about
because we had specials as well.
Yeah, it's true.
He talked more shit than that.
The thing about that shit that you talk, Tony, is every time there's nuggets in there of just
like shit,
nutritional comics information that is wonderful.
Like the sweet corn.
You are.
You just have to pour through the feces to find the.
Oh my god, nuggets. That's what this show is. Pouring
Remember
food.
A friend at school? He shit in a bread bag, and he found a whole peanut in there. Still in there.
Jesus! Right, hold on. This is. I don't think we're even 5 minutes in.
References already.
Whole peanut didn't digest.
Yeah, well, but there's lots to digest on this show, folks. Plenty of comic chat. We've got some recommendations at the end of the show, and because of like the temperature, just stay tuned for the end of the show, because by that time we normally go a little bit loopy anyway. But we might. Who knows what's going to happen?
I go the rails a lot sooner.
But right now, let's just. Well, actually, just never mind us waffling now. They'll hear the waffling later. Should we have some fantastic comic chat?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's an exciting one this week. Joining us today to talk about action, interpersonal character arcs, and badass giant mechs is the creator of a blistering sci-fi action comic, Sokyo X. It's one that Dan's been shouting about for many years, and rightfully so. So we're here with the one and only creator, Cory Tran. Welcome to the show.
Hello, I am happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Unfortunately, we revealed our dark side to Cory a minute ago when Dan started quoting things that
we've been chatting.
Live
we've always had the chat for 5-10 minutes, and Cory's still here, so that's quite nice.
Dark Butcher
he didn't just hang up straight away.
Dark Web Butcher. Coming from Tall Tony.
But obviously we're gonna jump into the comic, but in that chat, I just want to highlight a little detail that came out, because we were just going over like how did your book come onto our radars, and it was actually through a positive interaction on something called Twitter.
Yes.
Back in the day, you say it was 2000? What year was this?
I don't know, but it was a few years ago. It must have been it must have been
because the book started
3 years ago.
Yeah, the book. Yeah. You've started the book in 2023. Is that correct? Or?
That's correct. Yeah, I think that was when I first started. Yeah, it's been 3 years, and so it must have been Twitter around that time. And Dan posted like, "I'm looking for some recommends," or "I'm looking for something to check out on Twitter," just like shooting some
just ask
good
away.
vibes out there. Yeah, and I posted, and then we started.
I think I got on an issue 1.
Yeah.
I was absolutely fucking.
Yeah.
I love when
As
you
I've
get
said
on
many
issue 1.
times.
I love that. Yeah, when you're getting on board right at the start, and you can say, "Oh, I remember when issue 1 came out." When all these people are like, "Oh, isn't issue 5 brilliant?" And then you're going, "I was there at the start, my friend."
We'll roll back round to rarely do the creators get beyond issue 1 or 2, but you getting up to 5 with 6 on the horizon.
Mate, so productive because they're not short comics either.
And your art style is just like absolutely like consistent throughout. Great. It's like there's some where you see people do it over the years and their art style kind of like changes differently, but yours started at a high peak and just like kept it.
Oh, thank you.
What's the secret, Cory?
The secret. Thank you for saying that. The secret is time, I guess, is time and effort and trying to find every digital and technique to kind of make it efficient and cutting corners. Like, okay, what process, like break down the process, and then what are the steps that I can kind of eliminate it. So I keep the creative element and I would put all of my focus on thumbs. Like that's the fun part, that's the creative part, that's the storytelling. So that I feel like as long as I keep focus on that, and then the rest is just like fulfilling that promise, like I can try to kind of cut corners. And then I guess the time aspect is like each one of these took me 6 months. So this isn't like I'm not as speedy as like a big 2 guy. Like there's an element of just like, oh, okay, like do what I can today, and then tomorrow do what I can tomorrow.
But neither should be, because I'm guessing you've got a day job as well, Cory, have you?
Yeah, but I feel that it's in terms of the comic production part, like I some of these took much longer. Like at the beginning, I think I spent a lot more time like drawing the mechs, and that was like really frustrating and time consuming. And I'm like looking at the reference a lot to try and like, okay, how did I do it? What does it look like on this side, and what does it look like on that side? Like losing my mind's ability to like retain like visual knowledge. Like I'll look at it and then I'll look down at my drawing as I'm drawing, and then have to like look back 60 seconds later because I literally forgot
absolutely
what it looked like.
It's a super detailed book, but let's put it to the brass tacks. For those who don't know what Sokyo X, just give us a brief sort of rundown of what the book's about.
So it's a mecha action series. It's action is the main genre, but it follows a mech squad tasked with eliminating rebels on a mining planet. And that's kind of my little like quick pitch. But it one of the things, especially when I started at the beginning to kind of infuse into the series, was this idea of like, what is it like when I play like a first-person shooter video game? And what is that feeling of that action? And then how do I translate that into a visual, like a storytelling, like a comics medium? So that's how a lot of it started, especially at the beginning of like, I want that thrill. And then,
but still keep it a comic medium. That's something that we do talk about.
Oh,
but
yeah.
There's video games that some people can't translate that feeling in, it's, it tries to bridge the two, but it sort of stops being a comic book and feels like more of an art book for a video game. Whereas yours, from panel 1, we're in a comic book, like immediately.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, the comic is like the comic. The medium is. I've always adhered to the medium, and anytime I falter, that's just personal flaw. But the direction is always it's comics. Like that's the final medium that the reader is going to access this story or this art or whatever this piece through. So that's what it needs to be, and that's what the focus needs to be. That's what the genesis of the motivation needs to be, even if it doesn't always work out. And yeah, a lot of experimentation, but definitely always sticking to like this is comics. Like this is what I love. This is what are the things that I love. How do I in terms of the medium of comics medium things do I enjoy? How do I make that work for me?
Because obviously there's a heavy manga influence. I think that's pretty undeniable. What kind of stuff kind of inspired you to kind of like add those kind of story beats and techniques into Sokyo X?
I think it started with just like feeling like kind of ego, like I can do this. And from reading a lot of comics and manga, like like I, it's like I like this Akira, like dope. But then I spent a lot more time throughout the process, and with Sokyo specifically, because I had done web comics before, and then I was like, okay, like I need to just go into the format that I want, which is print. And that's when I was like, okay, I need to like look and actually study like how these pages are laid out, like what are the techniques that they use. And a lot of it, although like let's say like year one I looked at a lot, but pretty much like 90% of what I was looking at was manga, just because those techniques seemed to, I don't want to say they did it better, but like they appealed to me more.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where
it's interesting, because a lot of people sort of see them liking manga and anime, and they try to their spin on it, but never quite get it. Yours does. What do you think? You're kind of more of your analytical approach of kind of breaking stuff down helped with that?
I wonder. I don't think I do it better than anybody else. I'm constantly.
We'd like to argue that you do. We'd like to argue you definitely do.
That's very nice of you, but we will disagree.
Thank you. I do. I feel like I'm constantly seeing stuff, whether it's like on a feed or like flipping through a book or whatever, and I'm like, damn, like comic art or just art, and I'm like fuck, like that, they're doing it right. And so that's why I kind of feel like I guess what I should say is you guys have such a wide breadth of knowledge on comics and modern, like you guys read comics on the regular and you read them in so many different formats, so you see so much, and you guys have a really great grasp of comparison and what working. But so the question was analysis. I think so.
That's okay,
I think so. Sorry.
That's fine.
I think so.
The whole kind of measure twice, cut once approach of sort of really kind of like breaking down what you're doing, what this works, this doesn't, and then going ahead rather than just I'll start moving towards where I want to go and find out how I'm going to do it en route.
Dude, that's the best thing I've heard you say for measure twice, cut once. That's genius. That's genuinely, that's great. Yeah, really good. And I can see that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I interrupted.
I agree with that. Again, I'm kind of like a process person. Like I've discovered that, like, I thought that if I just always have like a good process and I break down my steps, that can translate to like other people and other artists and other like cartoonists specifically. But everybody like thinks differently, and especially like when you're really like a really good cartoonist, you figure out your own kind of stuff. And if we do kind of like conglomerate in terms of like figuring out what it is, that's where we can find new stuff. But I do that. I'm a little bit repeating myself, but yeah, like the thumb step is like, how much effort do I put into the thumbs? How many things do I try? How many things do I experiment? And my thumbs are pretty detailed because of it. But yeah, that's where I did, because I used to, you fuck up and you're spending time redrawing stuff, repenciling and re-inking, and it's like, why am I doing that? So it's like, okay, I just do all of that in thumbs, and then throughout the steps, I'm just like trying to correct any like little things that
so thumbs is where the energy is, Corey. Yeah, that thumbs is where you retain that energy, and then the
Yeah, in
bit over
terms of
that is
planning.
just controlled it.
I mean, I wonder,
yeah.
like, I mean, for me, it always feels like they're an essential, like a thumbnail or a mock-up. I used to make like little A5 little mock-ups of the book, so I not just like a box on a page. I could sort of see what the energy of the turn was like, and things like that. And I think, you know, so it's just become kind of, that's just part and parcel, like thumbnails. That's just what we do, you know. That's to get the pacing, to find out what works, what doesn't work. Sometimes a page looks great, and then you do 5 more pages, and you look back and you realise that page that you thought was great now doesn't work in the whole, so you need to rework.
Thumbnails are so undervalued, V. I genuinely think that. Yeah. I wrote something, it was only 6 pages today, but there's so much to retain in your head around start and stop and page turn action in a comic. Doing a thumbnail, hell, I do it for a writing.
Yeah, I think writers,
you know
I think more writers, I mean, if there are writers who don't, like, definitely try it out.
There's a lot you got to maintain and keep going. Tonally, exciting wise, action wise, story wise. So I think thumbnailing is such a good idea for anyone.
I do worry that with a new generation, you know, this new generation of digital only, just webtoons and, you know, all these creators who maybe haven't had, you know, grown up with all the you know, the Akiras or the Dark Knight Returns or whatever it is,
or just an actual physical comic. Yeah, well, you have to turn the page. They haven't grown up with that.
And it's so quick to make these comics now. I wonder, are there creators out there who aren't thumbnailing, who are doing comics from their own scripts? Because we see a lot of stuff, especially very much this new generation. There's a lot of manga influence. There's a lot of stuff that feels very basic. You know, there's, you know, some basic panel layouts. There's nothing on the background, you know. And the thing about to bring it back to Sokyo X, Cory, is like to see your book. There's absolutely nothing basic about that. There's there's absolutely no wasted sort of space. You're not overloading the page, but something's there. Something's actually there. There's no real, here's a person and they're surrounded by a void of nothing. I have a feeling if you do that, it's supposed to be a moment. We focus on that, you know. But I think some creators they just do a figure on a page and then they leave it like that. Do you know what I mean? I worry that some people aren't thumbnailing these days.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think people are.
Yeah,
a lot of people who aren't.
Whereas I'd love to see your thumbnails, Cory, because judging by the pages, they're crazy.
Yeah,
if you can do like a collected edition, maybe that'd be a great little addition to kind of. If you still have them, I don't know how you work with thumbnails.
I work digital. I work 100% digital. With this antique. So I have a drawing tablet, and then I work. Yeah, I've incorporated, because for thumbs or for everything, like every single drawing I make at this point, I'm transforming, I'm cutting and warping, and like, you know, inks I do less of it. I try to do it in the earlier stages. But especially in thumbs, it's like, oh, okay, like compositionally, like he's just like a little bit too big or too far to the right or too like this or that. Or like, how do I capture this mood more? Just a little bit of a transforming. Oh, maybe this panel needs to be just like a little bit bigger. So just use the transform. Things that like I could never really do traditionally.
Yeah.
And so I mean, that's another speed thing, is like, how do I speed it up? How do I add more options at a faster pace? But I do kind of want to go on a little bit of a tangent about the thumbs you were saying.
Go for it.
Do you guys know about Manben, the show Manben?
Yes. Okay, we've had a guest talk about it before.
Yeah, it's dope. It's Urasawa, Naoki Urasawa. He's like I think
Cliff Cumber mentioned it. Guy. You can watch it on Internet Archive.
Yeah, they have all these episodes.
Yes, I do know. Yeah.
So there was, I recently watched one with Yoshikazu Yasuhiko, who is the cartoonist of Gundam: The Origin and like a bunch of other stuff that doesn't get translated. But he's like this like super master level cartoonist, and he's old, like super old. And when it was shot, he was pretty old, like 70 something, like 75 or something. So. But he's still working. He's still making comics. And so this Manben episode, Urasawa goes and talks to him, and they videotape how he makes these comics. And he literally just like sits in front of a full page and like thinks for a little bit, and then just like draws the whole thing. and there's no thumbnail, there's no
That's
and
next level.
it's just like straight into pencils, and he's super fast. He's drawing these panels in like 10 minutes. And part of that is experience, I think, but they even mention that, oh, did you always do this? So like even when he was younger, he was doing it that way. And so so I recommend people check that episode out just to see what, for one, like what a master does, but also
all that
like
in his head, isn't he, before he puts his pencil down, I'm guessing.
Yeah, because I do my thumbs, and I spend a lot of time on it and trying out little different things. And he seems to do 100% of that just in his head while he's looking at a blank piece of paper, and then retains that memory of what he's composed in his head, and then extracts it onto the page. And so yeah, I just wanted to mention that because we're talking about people who don't thumb.
I think I work like you, Cory. Like it's crazy. It's beyond me how you put.
I mean, only a master can get away with it. That's what we're saying.
Yeah. Kirby
this is a master.
Yeah, Kirby did it.
Kirby needs to start at the left and then work down and do the whole page.
Yeah.
I've talked about this before in the show, but I remember sitting next to Brendan McCarthy when he put a marker pen down on the top right hand side of a page and just drew it. No pencils, just drew it all the way across. And I'm like, fucking hell.
Very impressive.
I think one of the things, like, it's important for especially a lot of new creators out there. You know, we're saying things like this and people are like, oh yeah, I can just go ahead and do it. No, that's because these people have the experience, they have the confidence, they know what they're doing, they're meticulous in what's doing it. And for a lot of us, we need to look at it, we need to break it apart, we need to, and it's all in service of the storytelling. You know, because Cory, because obviously, clearly, you know, you've got quite a story going on. Like the first issue is just like an adrenaline rush, and then the story sort of opens up into sort of like some complicated. You know, you got some world building, you got some complicated interpersonal relationships.
We won't do any spoilers, but there's a big sort of flip there's a couple of big flips. Yeah. It's like the world gets turned on its head. So
which is very interesting. So obviously, when you created this story, are you writing it issue by issue? Have you got like a broad spectrum of what's happening, and then you're writing issue by issue?
So yeah, I'll tell you how I did it for Sokyo X, and then I will tell you what is wrong. So I initially started with the figuring out the whole story. Like, what is it? What are the what do I want to happen at the very end? And then what I think at the time that I was creating number one, I was creating the series, I was very specific. Like, I really want to have this really cool intro, getting kind of like overly obsessed with this like one action piece. And then I wrote kind of a pseudo outline for the whole series, and then wrote each issue as I completed the next one in terms of writing the actual dialogue and breaking down the action and direction and story, like the intricacies of like this is a script essentially. And so that was issue to issue, and that gave me the opportunity to make some changes, especially like some of the bigger stuff that happens at the end in the last 3 issues, like 4, 5, and 6. A lot of kind of story elements were not planned out from the very beginning. Like where characters go, how they interact, big character stuff, because and then so what I got wrong with that process was I didn't have the skill at the beginning, like the storytelling ability at the beginning, like understand character arcs, understand what makes a character interesting, what makes dialogue interesting. And so I really pushed that in the second half to try to make those characters more interesting and try to make more of an emotional connection, which and so the whole series has those characters and those interesting arcs and plans, but I did feel that in terms of the writing process, that for my next project I would definitely write out the whole thing, establish all of the writing and all of the story and all of the arcs beforehand for the whole series, because there's so much you can input when you know everything 100% story wise. I feel that you have a better grasp of the whole process as you go through each step, so that you can, even if it's like simply foreshadowing or simply like little clues or little hints visually and within the character and the way that they act or the way that they express, because of their story, where they're going and what is going to happen to them and how they're going to change, and those elements are very important. So
do you feel like when you're writing, because the character stories certainly amp up and they get a lot, more personal, and like some shocking things happen. There's some stuff that I totally, even when I think I've got a grip on what's going to happen, then there's a couple of pages and holy shit.
That's it.
But did you find then in that writing process, it's almost, you've got a handle on the story, but the characters are then saying, no, we want more of the, you need to show more of this. And then do you feel like, because the characters got more expressive art-wise, you had to slightly overdo it sometimes? They went from 0 to 60 a lot quicker than they would have if it was if you had it more in mind to begin with.
I think a lot of that, the issue or one of the things that I felt was a little bit of a struggle, or a lot of a struggle, was condensing a lot of the story that I had written. And the first two books, it's very paced out. I try to make it as clear as possible. And I'm like obsessed with this action thing. I'm obsessed with making this really interesting world where you can just follow the action and have fun. And as these characters, as I'm starting to get better and try to input all this stuff in, I'm realizing I only have 48 pages to tell this story. So things start to like accelerate and drastic changes happen in less pages, because I'm like pushing too much into less, and trying to economize it. So in some ways, I think that actually made it interesting and surprising. And in other ways, I felt like it might have been a little bit too much of a jolt, just because I didn't I was like, I should have maybe put 10 more pages in here, but I didn't. So I feel like the intention was good, but 50-50 on the outcome in terms of like how it reads.
I think sometimes you got to go with instinct sometimes, Corey. I don't think there's any other way of doing it. We've all read a lot of comics, and you feel that it's right sometimes, don't you? You feel that it's either too compacted or too decompressed in a way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we've said many times, like, yours has so much happening on each issue, on each page, but we've read books where they have, people have tried to slow down to concentrate on these character arcs, and therefore nothing happens. We're not getting the action because they're talking a lot, and it's like, you need to balance that up. By the end of issue, you get to an issue 4 of a limited series, and you're like, hang on, we've only had like 2 action scenes during this whole thing. I thought this is supposed to be an action book. It's like,
like Cory mentioned there, people set up these high concept and high premises for these books, and then issue 2 they kind of don't seem to know what to do with it, and like
we get a flashback or something, and I'm like, come on.
If you've got so much, you should be, as a storyteller, you should be able to cut stuff out because you've got so much material trying to put in. If you're kind of like stretching to think, oh, what can I do with this next? You've got problems with your story, right? Because it should be the act of deciding what you're not going to put in, not scrabbling for what you're actually going to do. For the actual content of it.
I totally agree. I would say I feel that the American industry and with the way that we output comics, especially on a monthly format, which is how it's been, for the last 80 years or whatever. I mean, I know it's changed in recent times where it's like miniseries only, but for a while it's just like you got to push it out, and if you have an IP that makes money, you just focus on getting the next one out the door. It doesn't, you're not as concerned about planning as just like producing content. And but when you have really high level talent, it doesn't really matter how which as we all know, like there's amazing talent in the American industry, and if you have all those amazing people, then you just like push them to do stuff fast and it turns out great, even if sometimes it does feel a little bit stretched.
And there's a lot to speak about energy as well.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of energy on the page, man, and that comes from having a lot of heart and a lot of love for your story at that time. Honestly, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I there's definitely a feeling in production that, or while you're making a comic, and I think all you guys, of course, but everybody out there who is also making comics or has made comics, that you get to a place where like ego takes over and pride, and you start to feel like this is something. And that kind of, it waxes and wanes throughout the project and throughout the steps. But I definitely feel that when you're drawing something or when you're making something, sometimes you hit that point where you're like, oh, like, yeah, fuck yeah, like this, I think this is going to be what I want.
Yeah. When it's working, it's like, when it's clicking and it's like, wow. And like,
it's almost like I'm when I'm, because I don't draw, but when I'm writing, I'm so excited to get to the next bit sometimes. And I kind of feel, and that's just writing. I can write a page in half an hour, but you guys, you've got to draw it for a couple of days. It's just keeping that energy going as well, that excitement and that pride in what you're doing.
And it's a rhythm thing as well. You can really feel it in the rhythm. Like there's certain, I think many comic artists or writers, all the people across the process can go, I love working on this book. But look at these 5 pages in sequence. I love this section of a book. Do you know what I mean? I think we've all got those. Yeah. I'm really pleased with how this, it's never normally. Well, I'm not going to say never because it could be, but I would say
it all comes together.
There's a lot of times where it's not just one page. We can all be proud of one page that we did. But if you get a sequence, that's a high. That's a real high, I think.
You've really done something there, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, you've got
a lot of people can draw a little wizard in the back of their drawing book, at school, but not a lot of people can make a story that runs from 1 page to 5 pages or whatever it is. Yeah, definitely.
How many times did that happen to you? Did you have vibe, that sort of high? I'm trying not to spoil any of the story before you jump in, Dan. Like, there's
no,
because we're trying to talk around, because people, you do need to read this. It's great, but were there certain sequences where you're like, where the ego took over?
I think some ideas I had and I thought were really great, and here's another little tangent. Like when I was doing webcomics, and I think this is something that every webcomic cartoonist has, especially, I mean, Dan, you know this, I'm sure, for doing it for so long, but like there's this feeling, because we didn't have that format and that structure of like, oh, you got to do 22 pages in X amount of time. You spend your time making pages and making comics, but while you're making that, you're thinking about something that's going to happen in a year, or something that's going to happen in 6 months, and you're projecting that energy forward, where you're like pulling yourself. What you're drawing and what you're creating, what you're telling at the time, is like using the energy of what you're perceiving in the future to be amazing. And you're like, I can't wait to get to that one point. And you kind of use that energy to like pull yourself forward. And I feel like there were definitely aspects and story points in Sokyo X where I felt that, and I intended for them to be like, there's kind of like 2 big moments. One is at the end of 3 and one is at the end of 4. And I intentionally wanted it to be like a halfway point where like you have 2 kind of stories that are happening in one big story, where it's like I've been enjoying a lot of fantasy stuff, and obviously like Lord of the Rings is the king, but I love this idea of like two worlds that you enter into in one series where like there's you everybody is the same, all the characters are the same, you're following everybody along, but the actual place that you enter is different. And so you this is getting a little convoluted, but
it's okay.
Well,
yeah,
kind of like
yeah,
you was telling the story in Lord of the Rings. You got the story of the Fellowship, but alongside that, there's all other stories happening at the same time. Is that kind of what you mean?
Kind of,
it's a fully integrated world.
I guess like what I mean is when you're in the Shire, like you're not really sure, like, oh, we're gonna be doing like Helm's Deep in 2 books.
Yes.
Like you don't realize, you don't understand the scale of like what's happening. But when you get there, it's like this perfectly makes sense. Like this is I've been here since the beginning. I just didn't realize I was looking at a different part of the story. I've
got an aside on the Vanguard. In the first issue, Pendragon character looks at his phone and he's got a picture of his daughter. She takes over as the lead from the series like 10 years later, and that was a fucking thing I set up right at the very first issue.
Oh man,
and I was like gunning
too much.
I was gunning for it all the time. Like,
how did that feel? How did that feel when?
It feels odd because you barely remember doing it. But like when you look back, you're like, oh fuck yeah, I did that. Like I put the work in, and I started over there, and now I'm here, and I planned to get here, and here I am.
But with things like that,
feels odd.
With things like that, because it's so intrinsic to the story and what you had planned. But time moves on. Stories develop. We add things. We take away things. When you get to these sort of points, did you go back to make sure that you tried to cover as many of the holes, or did you go back to check things?
I think I did the idea of like we're doing a journey towards this destination. We're journeying towards the mountain. I don't know what road we're going to take, but that's the way I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So like, I might not be able to get across this way. I divert round, but I'm still traveling in the way I want to be.
So you didn't have to worry about any Easter eggs. Yeah, because I think some people try to drop in too many hints or Easter eggs.
Yeah, I guess you just got to be too careful not to trip yourself up. But there was nothing that I didn't touch wood. Hopefully, didn't cover myself with. I'm sure there's loads I've missed. But,
I think sometimes. Sorry, I think sometimes like even if you feel that you missed something or like, oh, I wasn't paying attention, or especially when you're making so many pages, Stan, like readers, I should say, sometimes just like absorb it, and sometimes they might not see those things that you had planted or that you were thinking about until it happens, and then it's like, oh hell yeah, like I feel it even though I can't actually recall the points.
Yeah.
So
I guess as a writer as well, you're kind of building a world that's kind of contained in a certain area, and that's what the readers see. But also, you as a writer understanding this whole globe of kind of stuff and other things that happen, why things are going on, and trying to retain that very kind of intricate knowledge of this one area when actually you've got to think of so many other things and where the story's going.
But do you need to, with that in mind, do you need to have that all crafted out? Or can you have, like, okay, this thing's happening because these people have appeared. Okay? I know that's a paragraph. They come from somewhere. This thing happens. It's only when this thing happens that you then develop them. Do you think these people need to be developed from the very beginning so that it feeds what you're doing? Because otherwise, that's a lot of balls you've got to juggle, isn't it? If you're talking about world building, I think
it's going to be dependent on the writer, right? If you kind of depends.
Yeah. I'm not saying make it up as you go along. I'm not saying
if you want to work out every single
detail, though, isn't it? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It always seems to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're like if it, I guess so it's like how much do you develop in terms of world building and character building outside of those people's and those elements appearances within the main story?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, can we do like a little poll? Like, what do you guys think about that? Because
I like the idea. I like the idea of it. But I also think like the reader. It's nice to know that there's a big world there, but the reader, if it's all contained within this issue, the reader doesn't need to know that. Oh, they were just a paragraph, and now I'm developing them. I don't think that you necessarily need to have, because some people could spend years creating a Bible for a book that no one will ever discover. Do you know what I mean? No one will ever see.
That. I think as a writer, I just need to tell the artist exactly what he needs to know, and it may not be what he needs to know at the moment. He may need to know that for a year's time when he's drawing page 100. I just know that that's my job, is to communicate exactly what he needs to know about that particular page. But the fact that something evolves with that character and I know about it, if that has an impact on the page he's drawing when I'm writing it, then yes, I do. I think. Am I the sort of person to create a document about a whole world? Yeah, I have done it, and mostly I've just done it because me and Falpy had fun with it. In all honesty, we did. That's
good as reason as any.
Yeah, it was tonally, it allows for certain beats as well, where we're playing with the sort of satire and humour and future history or fictitious past or whatever we're doing. Then I think sometimes it plays in with that, and with a world building document as opposed to a script, I'll add photographs that add to that tone. We had a character driving a certain car, for example, and I just felt that was the way I saw it. Yeah, there's a number of different reasons, really, mate. That's a complicated way of saying that, I guess.
What about you, Dan?
What about you, Cory? Oh, me? I think you can kind of have certain rules set in your head. I wouldn't go as far as making a Bible up, but that's each to their own.
There's a Tolkien or George R.R. Martin, isn't there? You know, the George R.R. Martin way. It feels like there's more world than there is story sometimes, and that's when it's difficult, isn't it?
If I created like an alien race, and then later on in the story I was like, well, they can't see green because that's not in the Bible. Like, fuck that. As long as it's consistent with the story, like they can't see green. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But if they've got, like, suddenly you decide, isn't it useful if they had a third arm? You know, you think, I probably should have communicated that earlier on. There's a bit of that, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's very dependent on what needs must the devil rides sometimes, isn't it?
Perhaps in their society, that having the third arm, that you have to keep it hidden all the time.
You can craft that.
There's ways around it.
You can craft that in the story, like the arm comes out, and then one of the protagonists is like, "Did you know they could do that? No, I didn't know they could do that." You know, and then it becomes a story.
Got to be part of it. Yeah. But you can't, in that reason, have had one of the aliens tied down, unable to get free.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? There's like these little things. Yeah.
Like I said, as long as it's internally consistent, I think you're okay.
It's a jigsaw piece, isn't it? As long as you're keeping it all as one big visual picture and you're not missing little bits, I'm fine with it. Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Cory? What do you think?
I agree with you guys. I feel that what's required for the story is most important, and sometimes we as creators, and Tony, you were kind of saying this like for fun, like the world building aspect becomes almost like a fetishistic thing where like it's like we want to go down these paths, and the creation is so powerful and it's so enjoyable to create and develop, but in the end, it's like, what do we really need for this story? And sometimes by going down those paths and developing and creating stuff, we come up with these really amazing story aspects that we can use and maybe even change the whole total story. But yeah, I totally agree with you guys. Like in the end, like what the story needs is that's how much you need to develop. And then maybe a little bit more, because you need enough that you can, in your mind, like organically kind of stretch it just a little bit in case, you know, any interesting paths come out.
Yeah,
it's the old story that Dave Gibbons tells about getting Watchmen script pages from Moore, and he would read them once so he's aware of everything, and then he'd use a highlighter just to highlight the bits he needed to remember or needed to use when drawing it and going back to it.
Yeah,
that sounded like a nightmare assignment.
Yeah, it does a bit.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
But I've seen those pages that he somewhere they posted, like, I don't know if it was in a book or so. I might be I've seen it online, but there's like what Moore's scripts looked like, and then which is what Gibbons had to deal with, and yeah, that would have really been a task.
They were like
for him.
Densely typed, typewriter typed. I think densely one paragraph. It looks like a Burgess novel, with very few full stops, just this big block of text that honestly you get used to.
And then you got one highlighted line. He walks into the room.
Yeah. He looks pissed off. Yeah, that's
maybe
sort of thing.
He doesn't get enough kudos for that kind of work he put in for that.
I think
maybe.
I mean,
that's
Gibbons,
really
like,
the writer's admit, right?
I think,
Go, Cory.
yeah, there. Well, shit. With Gibbon specifically, I feel like when we say like, oh, Watchmen is this masterpiece or whatever, like how he was able to decode like more stuff, like his writing, and then being able to translate it in such like a like he's able to like translate it for us onto the page in such a, because his style is so economic and beautiful, and he gives you all the information you need in an interesting way with like perfect forms. So I think he deserves a shitload of credit for being able to take that script and make it into like what the actual art piece is.
Like,
I agree, man.
Yeah, a lot of his stuff is like, you know, sometimes the art isn't shocking, it's what's being depicted are shocking acts. You know, and I think there's a lot of artists now who are just going for the, look, I can draw the gory stuff, I can do something shocking, here's something terrible that's happening to someone. We don't necessarily need to see all that to get the idea that this is horrible.
That whole sequence with Rorschach and the dogs, and how he sort of he's no longer becomes Walter Kovacs. He takes on the identity of Rorschach, and it's like fucking hell. There's
and what the Rorschach ink spot drawing things as well. You mean that stuff? Yeah, it's so well done. I think what you're saying is Gibbons is an expert in summarization almost.
Yeah,
you know, he's gone through these scripts and he's taken out everything in his mind, and he's almost like formulated his own page and what needs to be done from that. But you're right, decoding is exactly the fact. You know, you might have to read 10 pages to get of more text.
It's almost like
a page in a
it's
comic.
almost like, instead of it being like drawing a comic script, it's almost like you're adapting a novel, isn't it? It's almost like
exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, summarizing summarizing a novel and turning it into a play or something. And it's exactly what he's doing there, isn't he? And having actors on a page.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you gave that to another artist, you'd get a completely different output, right? It'd be completely different.
Probably a lot of people would start crying. And
count me among them.
People would be able to do it. They would just do a really shitty job.
Yeah.
I don't think Gibbons gets enough credit for the personality that's on the page as well. I mean, he's very clean, like you say, he knows his form, Cory. You know, everything sits exactly the right place, but somehow there's a personality to his people as well, and he draws people differently, which I really love. The psychiatrist is one of my favourite characters in that book.
Great,
he's
brilliant.
The most human person out of everyone, isn't he?
Yeah. He's kind of, well, as a design, he's really kind of like a family man. He's well-rounded and kind of full. He's got like a really safe and happy life. And then it's like when he's talking to Walter, it's like he's almost your mirror opposite. He's comes from a world of violence and
he's kind of
misery.
The reader, isn't he, in a way? Yeah, he's kind of the world.
Because you kind of get a look both of the writing and the art, but you get a glance behind the curtain, didn't you? But
I mean, I know I've said this sacrilegious statement to many a few times, but for me, Watchmen is a better book to look at than it is to read. I find more enjoyment out of what it looks like rather than the density.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoy the reader, but like I think we all do this. We rebel against that idea of someone said, "Oh, I want to get into reading comics," and you say, "I'll read Watchmen." It's like, no,
I'm tired of Watchmen and Dark Knight being the only two comics that people talk about, because there's so much else out there. I think the difference, just go back on what you say, V. I see what you say, absolutely, and there is a retro feel to Watchmen. It's almost like a time gone by. It's timeless, but also a time gone by all at once. But the thing is, I was reading it monthly or almost monthly.
Yeah, that's a different experience.
Yeah, and I think for me it was a mystery. We were reading it, and we were desperate to find the new issue. I remember being at UCAC as they were coming out, and everyone was talking about it. But now it's seen as something that is more interesting for the form.
Yeah.
For me,
it's a tome now, isn't it? It's a tome rather than, because I think that would have been, for me, I would have enjoyed it more reading it monthly.
Yeah, I think for people who call it a graphic novel, it always gets up my arse, because for me it was like, well, you know, I hate that term, but for me it was a series of comics that was coming out, and we were reading them and excited by them and buying them in shops and at comic conventions and stuff like that. And to
recall
see
you
that
had any idea who the murderer was? Did you have any idea at the time? about speculation of who it was rampant at the time.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, it was talked about in fanzines and stuff like that as it was coming out. And I was at UCAC when Gibbons and Moore were talking about it, and yeah, it was. And also Gibbons used to be in I used to see him all the time at my local comic shop, and it was just such a real energy at the time, and and wasn't just those two series. It was so much else going on, so much experimentation that it's just in the same way I think now that we should be talking more about single manga, because that's the big new revelation, the big new revolution in a way. Totally. It was just such an energized time for comics. I just wish we had it back again. I really do. Yeah, there's a rant for you. How's that?
Oh well, we got plenty. The more the better on this show.
Yeah.
We was talking about influences, weren't we? And you mentioned the Guyver T-shirt. I presume you're a Guyver fan.
Oh yeah, just before we started recording. Yeah, Vince is throwing a Guyver T-shirt for anyone who's. That's got to be on your list.
It's a pretty awesome looking T-shirt too. But so just to go talk about Guyver for a sec. Like, Guyver is like super tragic of a story. So like. It's this manga that was kind of in the 80s, like late 80s, and then into the early 90s, and up until the 2000s. And it's kind of this long-running manga. And it became an anime, and that kind of, I think, made it big. And then it became an American movie. And I don't know how that happened.
It was two movies. So it was Mutronics and Guyver, wasn't it? Is that right?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Guyver Dark Hero.
Mutronics.
What was it called?
It's got Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill. Yeah. That was someone else owned it. I think Dark. What's the second one? What's the
Dark Hero?
Dark Hero. They're two separate things, because I think.
Have a look at Mutronics while we're talking, Corey, because definitely.
Is that a full moon one? Is Mutronics a full moon?
Yeah, it's definitely got that vibe to it.
Because someone basically had the IP and then.
Yeah.
The lead actor is fucking shocking.
Oh, it was just called the guy. It was released in Europe and South America as Mutronics. It was 1990.
Okay, I was thinking like MEW, like a cat. And
MU.
You're talking about like a
mutant.
Like a mutant.
That's just my peasant accent.
Yeah.
Corey,
okay. Yeah. So we it was just called the Guyver here. Yeah. So it was technically like an adaptation. But anyway, so it made it eventually the second one come out, which is Guyver Dark Hero, which is actually the cool one. The first one is shitty. And the second one is like super awesome. It kind of B-movie vibe, but like really like cool and good action, like martial arts action.
Here's your pop quiz bit of knowledge. The main hero for Guyver Dark Hero, David Hayter, is the voice of Solid Snake in the Metal Gear.
He's done a ridiculous amount of anime voice,
and he was also EA Sports. It's in the game.
Oh, really? Yeah, he did that.
Wow. I'm pretty sure he's that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Carry on.
Real Dark Hero. Yeah. So Guyver the manga. So I read it all online, which is like the only way to read it, and so it kind of starts almost typical, where it has like this little kind of like, oh, it's brutal, like bloody, gory, kind of in the 80s way, where it's like the drawing is not super detailed, but it has that vibe, and it has that like, oh, our characters are in high school, like a very common Japanese theme for shonen and even seinen stuff sometimes. So like it has those kind of almost generic elements, but as you go throughout the series, what makes it interesting is there's like anthropological element of like, there's these aliens that had arrived back in the day before humans, and so they build this whole mythology, and discovering that mythology in the course of like these crazy action set pieces that keep getting bigger and bigger. Like at the beginning, it's just like they're fighting outside the school, and then as you get closer to the middle and the end, it's like, oh, like buildings are being destroyed and like whole cities are getting leveled, and you're like, oh shit, like this is crazy. But so it has this emotional thing and this mythological element, and discovery and mystery, almost like adventure, just like Indiana Jones, like Uncharted, like that kind of like action discovery, like relics, and like, oh, we're reading the signs on the old buildings. And so around like 2006, it just like, I mean, 2016, I think it just like stops. And so I really looked into it because it wasn't like this is coming to an end or like this is like leading to something. You kind of get like, oh, this is like 80% of the story. And so
just drops off.
It just like kind of ends. And so I kind of try to figure out what's going on with this guy. And his name is Yoshiki Takaya. And he, I guess, just decided like it wasn't popular enough or like whatever the motivation was. And this is, I think, a big difference between the way that we view comic creation in like the Western world and like Japan.
Right.
And like what it takes to be like successful, or where it's like from our regard, like how much more successful can you be if you have all these movies, you've got animated shows, you have this huge legacy, these amazing merch and toys and models. It's like we're in two totally different countries talking about this thing that he created in Japan like 30 years ago. But I guess the story goes like he just like decided to stop and became like a dentist or something. And just like from that point forward, just lived like doing whatever he wanted to do in that in wherever he lives. So that's why it's a little bit sad, because it's like you have this huge, like separate from like Miura, like Kentaro Miura, Berserk, like you have this amazing long running thing that ends because just he died, like it's over, like there's nothing more he can do. And then you have these other stories where it's like kind of the same type of thing, but then it's just like, oh, I'm like done, like I'm done with comics, like it didn't work. And maybe it's because of like the type of work-life balance that Japan has, or because of some situation that we don't know. But just there's like a cultural difference, and there's a difference in how manga creation is viewed, I think, or comic creation is viewed. But yeah, it just, I don't know, like it just really sticks in my mind, that story, because it's not like a shitty comic. Like if somebody told me like, oh, this dude who was writing Superman for like 4 years like stopped doing that, like I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure. But like this is like his creation that he created for like 20 or 30 years, and then just was like, nah, like I'm done.
Also, good couple of movies, anime series as well. It's not unpopular.
No.
I suspect it was financially good for at least a significant amount of time.
It has to be, because like like the way that the Japanese publishing works, like he would own it, like it's his. I mean, at least a portion of it, like he has the rights. Like there's no like, oh, it was sold to. Although I think the movie stuff, once it comes over to America, maybe that's a different deal.
Yeah.
But in general, like the anime and stuff, like he's the creator, like he's the one who owns the rights to those. As far as I know, I don't know the exact specifics, but it's different.
That's crazy, right? Because you kind of you invested so much, and then like it maybe got to the point where it's a sunken cost fallacy, where it's like, I'm not enjoying this or getting what I want out of it. I'm leaving. I'm becoming a dentist, which seems nuts, right?
It seems nuts to us, But then we also know, like, you know, the working in comics in Japan is not something.
It's a different level.
Yeah, it's a totally different level. It's a totally, even just working in Japan outside of comics, it's a different like work-life balance than,
he found that being
what
a
we
dentist,
have.
he could do a couple of days a week as a dentist, and you know,
I don't know.
He's clearly not a young man.
Yeah,
I mean, Guyver's 80s, isn't it?
Yeah,
so...
I mean, it's interesting as well. Like, you know, I fully respect and appreciate if it's like, if there's no love in the game anymore, why are you playing?
Right.
You know, why are you playing the game? Do you know what I mean? It's all
There's
like,
something to be said about making your hobby into your career.
And then if it's like, this isn't
it?
for me anymore, and then walking away, fair play, all the credit in the world to you. And sometimes if things like that happen now, especially in like, you know, with Western fandom and things like that, if someone that created this huge series like, now I'm done with it, I'm walking away, they probably get hate. They get all this fucking ridiculous over the top. Why are you doing this? Why have you created this and now walking away from it? It's like there's a level of like.
I think there's different cultural attitudes at play as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Also, I think there's some parallels to be made here with some of the 2000 AD characters. For example, Pat isn't writing or drawing Nemesis or Slain anymore, and I don't want anyone else to do it.
I agree. Yeah. I've got similar feelings about Berserk. I've not read any of the stuff since
right.
he passed. I will at some point, but I'm like, if he's not doing it, like, what is it? It's
for so long. There's so much of him in that character. I guess there's so much of his that's just in his head that nobody else will work out. And do we really want Joe Schmo or Joe Schmo and his company doing it now? I don't know. I'm in two minds.
The chap he's got working on it now, like, knew they were best mates forever. And
okay, see, I dig that.
Bounced things back and forwards. Yeah, but I mean, and still, it's not the same guy.
It's interesting. Like, I spoke about like Body Bags and like Jason Pierce and stuff. Like, reading that stuff. So such a voice in it. Such a unique voice. And I've seen those characters written by someone else. Doesn't work for me in any way, shape, or level.
It depends on the case. It's got to be case by case for me. Yeah. I mean, Len Wein created Wolverine. But kind of Claremont made him his own. Yeah. Am I enjoying the people who are doing Wolverine at the moment? No.
Yeah.
But other people, there's been some other good people who've done it.
Miller.
Miller's done it well. Yeah. Gail Simone, not
creation's an interesting, isn't it? When you create characters, it's such an interesting thing. Like, dare we ever think, I created this character? Can I imagine anyone else?
Well, here's the question for you, Corey. Would you let anyone else take over your comics?
Or
would you get a knife and kill them?
No. I mean, it's kind of a thought experiment at the way that I feel about it, because it's not like something that's a practical thing.
Yeah.
So from a thought experiment perspective, it's like I have to acknowledge, like, if I like fan works, and if somebody's just like something amazing, let's say Star Wars, right? Like, people love Star Wars. It's had a very massive fan base for many, many years, or Star Trek. Like, and if somebody wants to like make a comic or tell a story in that world, like, I feel like they have 100% of that right, artistic right, human right to do so. And I guess sometimes you could say like, oh, okay, like, if you're selling it and making a shitload of money, then in our world it's acceptable to be like, oh, like, we have to sue you. But like, from a creative perspective, like, from a fan perspective, like, you have that right and you should be able to do that. From the other perspective of, like, let's say I would hire somebody to do it, or like, if I'm like the publisher of this product and I wanted to like expand this product, then would I? Because it's like my baby or whatever.
I think that's an interesting word you've used there.
Yeah,
product. When does a project become a product?
Or when does it become your baby as well? Is the other part of it. Yeah, I think the proof's in the pudding for everything around that, man. I think you've just got different cases, different personalities, different times, different styles.
Sometimes with some projects, like if you're collaborating and stuff, and you feel like, I'm just gonna walk away from it, I can walk away from it, and it's fine. Let someone else take the reins. Yeah, do that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I do feel like I feel like if this were like something where money is involved, if something where publishing is involved,
that's where it changes, isn't it?
Yeah, like I would want to be involved, right? Like this is my but when it's just like, if somebody likes your stuff and they want to like write their own shit, like hell yeah, like do it, right? But so it's
like fan art. Fan art's amazing. I fucking, if someone draws, take time.
The money thing changes it. That's for me exactly what you say, Corey. There, the money part of it changes it. The fan art thing is great. If you then discover someone selling it, it changes. It moves it into a whole other area. But then again, there's just the thrill of making it, man. I mean, I've written substantial amounts in the last sort of year or so in a pen name, and I just love doing it and seeing the art from it and seeing people's reactions. I'm not. There's no ego. You got to exit the ego, man, from this sort of thing. You got to take it out of the equation.
Yeah. And although, I mean, if we're going to fluff your ego a little bit more, Corey, we can tell on this comic that you genuinely you're enjoying telling this story, and
man.
I know it's a difficult process, a lot of it, but it's right there on the pages. Also appreciate a little bit of back matter that you put in it in a couple of like we have this first issue, and then you've got hi, just a little bit more info about the world. We were talking about world building and stuff. Just a little hints to, and it was good because like reading those issues, I never felt like I was losing anything. And but yet that little bit of back matter just gives you a bit more ammo.
Character cards, I like. Yeah,
just things like that.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually really, because even on some of like, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, so you guys are kind of sometimes the only voice in my head, and I've heard.
Oh God, you poor man.
Yeah, well, I've heard you guys say stuff like, I don't want to read like the extras, or I don't want to read like you just want to get right into the comic, especially like at the beginning. And like, so I was kind of like, if I put all my exposition in the last 2 pages, it's kind of like, if I want to have this really dense action scene, like that's the real estate. I've spent it already. So I have to find another way to explain the story, explain the world, explain the characters. So I put a little bit of that in the back with these 2 extra pages. And I really worried, like, are people going to read these? Like, they read the action and then they kind of like, I kind of like this is cool, but are they going to put it down after, or are they going to actually read it?
So it's weird. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I scan it, and sometimes I do read it. It just, I don't know.
Which is why the design and layout of it is very important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you've made it very, very easy to, once you finish that issue, there's like, iconography, faces, and like, there's something visual going on. If after that issue you had a couple of pages of prose just telling us about the world, I may not have read it. Do you know what I mean? I'll just say, there's a way of delivering your information, isn't there?
Yes.
Which is...
that I really intentionally made it like a comic. So it's like, as long as somebody is in the mindset of reading a comic, they can get this in an entertaining way.
Yeah.
It's just going to have a little bit more words. But pacing wise, you start at the top and you read it and it feels good. There's images. There's not images, there's story, like single page story. So it's told in a narrative way. But speaking of like going back to Watchmen, like, that's one of those things where it's like, especially since I've only read it collected, like I didn't read it monthly. Like, I don't want to reread all that shit that's just like text. Like, and I don't even want to read the pirate stuff. Like, but if I was reading it monthly, like you did, like maybe I would, because I'd be like, every little bit matters. Like,
you want to squeeze every bit of juice out of the orange.
You don't know what matters with it. That's the thing, I guess.
Yeah, I also appreciate like in your issues when you like the later ones. If you started on issue 3, you're like, no, go back and you can read the 1, 2, 3. You do point out like you're very aware of your own story, which I like. It's not one of those, there's important stuff that will help you. So go back and read.
Yeah, you might get lost a little, which is fair.
Yeah.
There's a difference between sort of every issue's your first and like this is a kind of a story that kind of does, you didn't need to follow on from the start. It's
that's a big challenge, especially distribution wise, that I was facing, because I'm not in big distros, so I'm just like selling direct to shops or selling direct to people, and so there's no guarantee that somebody is going to go into a shop and see one, or even if they do see number 1, maybe they're like, I don't like that cover, or like I don't like, people just like flip through stuff, right? Like when you're deciding if you're gonna actually spend money on a comic you've never heard of, a black and white comic at a comic shop, like you're not just gonna gamble, like you're gonna check it out. And if there's only number 4 or only number 2, like you might get that. And people have mentioned that to me, and because I wrote it like intending like you have to read what comes before. Like, it doesn't make sense if you don't. But I don't know. I've kind of over these past 3 years kind of like questioned, like maybe it is kind of okay. Like I think as a writer, we get obsessed with like spoilers, and we're like, oh, like I really don't want them to know. But sometimes I feel like people, they don't care as much as I do about spoilers. They're just like, oh, this was cool. Like, let me get the first ones, right? Like, even if they know already.
Yeah, it's all about joining the dots and us working the story out in our heads. Spoilers, I think.
I'm a big thing about spoilers. Like, I kind of want to kind of be true to it, and I don't want to hear spoilers ahead of time. It's kind of hearing the punchline to a joke, and then someone tells you the joke before, then the joke's set up, and it's like, well, it's kind of doesn't mean anything. It's
sometimes spoilers will push me into reading something I wouldn't normally have gone to, I guess.
Right.
Maybe. So that's a possible.
So if you see a potential spoiler and say, that sounds interesting, I go in and read it. Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
I like when somebody's like, let's say at a con, I set my books up, all 6 of them. And I like break out into a sweat when like the person picks up the 6th one first and just starts flipping through it. I'm like, you're literally looking at the end of the story. But I don't know. People, they don't see, I don't want to say people, but I think a lot of people do. Maybe we're just like more obsessed because if I get spoiled, if somebody spoils me, it makes me so infuriated.
But because we're all weirdos, Corey, we all want to be in at the start of a story, and we don't want to join it halfway through. But that's we've been programmed to do that over the last couple of decades. Before that, nobody worried about picking up Thor issue 303. They didn't think they had to, because you couldn't go back and read the previous 50 issues. Nobody used to worry about it. Who's this? Why has he got this? And who's this? And what's happened here? And kind of it was a mystery that I was just like desperate to research and investigate in my head. And Legion of Superheroes, who's this character? And why are they trapped on this planet? And I know what you mean now, but we are programmed to do it, I think, these days. Definitely. Yeah.
That said, if people want to read Sokyo X, Corey, how do they go about doing that?
How do they get a physical copy as well? That's what I want to get.
I am selling it in America, the physical copy, but if you're in England, or I guess Europe as well, Third Bear Press has some copies.
Steven's
so he's dope. And Steven, I heard about him through you guys, but he distributes some American stuff. Good, like alt comics, like a lot of alt comics that are like really.
Yeah. I know he's got a deal with strangers and stuff like that. Yeah.
So he has some of the. I think he has the first 3. So definitely that's the best way to get it if you're in the UK or Europe. In America, the best way is planetlandcomics.com. That's my website, and you could read the first chapter there. I try to put and people have, like, if you just want to read the first chapter, see if it works for you, you can read it all online there.
That's a great idea.
Great.
Sounds like you do some cons as well. You're a regular at cons, Corey.
I got into cons in the last 3 years because of this, kind of like, I need to make this work. But it's been tough, like, trying to figure it out. It's great to meet so many other people and so many other creators that are, Matt Schofield, he's dope.
Did you meet him? I was going to ask you about him.
I've met him a few times. He's been very helpful. Cool. Super cool. But he's like local here, right? So if I do local stuff, I might see him around. But he's a cool one. So I'll meet people that I like, just new creators and different people, and seeing like people kind of doing the same thing that I'm doing. So there's this benefit that I kind of perceived, but I didn't know what it was like until I started doing it. But the money doesn't always work out for cons for me, and I think that's
it doesn't
like the costs have increased a lot. And I'm just kind of sharing this information because it's something that like everybody talks about while you're there, right? So these are discussions that you have at cons, and it's one of those things where it's like, this is required if you want to do something, like if you want to proceed professionally, like you kind of need to do this. But on the other hand, like, I don't recommend, if you haven't done any cons yet, start small.
I think there's a lot to be said for if you've got to pay for accommodation and travel a significant distance to a convention, have a think.
Especially in the States, where many times you are catching
even from here to Thought Bubble or something like that. The price of hotels, the price of travel, the price of meals.
Because the convention weekend is usually a hotel hotspot, isn't it? A convention weekend is usually...
hotels are piss takers, aren't they? They'll lift the price of rooms. But it's like if you can find someone near to you and go and do it in a day and travel home, I think you make so much more benefit financially from that, because it's probably somewhere you would have gone, an area like Central London or something. For me, you'd have gone there anyway. I think if you've got to start factoring in the cost of hotels and stuff, I think, especially at a convention like Thought Bubble, where there's so many people, there's so many options for people to spend their money. I think you're right. Start small is by far the best. Build your audience, and then you can consider doing it. I think, Corey. I think you're right, man. Yeah. It's bitten us on the arse a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, because also sometimes with the bigger cons, and you do have to be careful sometimes, because some people do really well at them, and people that you like and you're friends with and stuff, and they do really well. So you hear that and you think, oh, I'm going to clean up at this one. You go to it and it doesn't work out. It's not because that person's that recommended it. It's just that you can't always trust that this is the convention where I'm going to make lots of money, because it could be for years, and then but what happens when you have the 1 year where it isn't?
It could be. It was MCM London. This week, it could be that people saw the weather today and was like, I ain't going up to Central London to go to a sweaty con, and don't go.
Well, that must be awful inside there today.
Yeah,
so many factors.
Yeah.
But that's us complaining about the weather again, Corey.
Yeah. There you go. A bit of hot weather, and look at us. But one thing that is the hotness is your. See what I did there? Is your comic. So I mean, also just to say again, you launched it in 2023 and you've got 6 issues out. Can we just once again applaud the fact, because just to say, listeners, if you look at what's going on the pages, he's putting the work in.
And it's consistent from page 1 onwards. That's the good thing about it, man. It really is. It's so well drawn and it's consistent. It's just such a lovely, easy read all the way through. Yeah, because you don't change. Everything's the same. You recognise everyone. Yeah. Good work.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's and these 6 issues are the total story. Like, it's done now. So
you're going to have a break for a long time.
Well, I'm writing my next thing, but definitely I'm just there is also an element of energy in terms of, like, once I completed it, it's like, okay, like, chill out for a sec.
Yeah, you got to look back and assess what you've done. People don't do that enough. You look back and see what you've done, see what's gone well, see what hasn't gone quite so well, assess where you're going with the next one. I'm going to predict the next one is a fantasy comic. Am I right, Corey?
Oh, I was just about to say this one's big in sci-fi without any spoilers. What genre is this going to be in?
Yeah, sorry for jumping the time, but because I'm writing it now, I'm so engulfed in the world and the characters, and it's gonna be pretty fucking awesome, I think. But it's a supernatural vampire action fantasy.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
That's what it is.
If you include the word erotic in the middle of there, Corey, I'm gonna.
Well, that's
Tony will fund the book.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
I think it, man.
This is going to be amazing. Listeners, go and check out the book. It's well worth it. And fun. Where can people follow you if they want to check out artwork, etc., Corey?
You can check out my site, planetlandcomics.com, and I am Planetland Comics on Instagram and Blue Sky, and that's pretty much all I do now.
Good. That's all you need. There's so many of them, you don't need a lot of them these days. So you know what to do, listeners. Go forth, check out the book. You won't regret it. It's fucking awesome. And now we're excited about the next one, which no rush, Corey. But thank you. Thank you for joining us. It's been amazing.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you so much, guys.
And welcome back.
How good was that? That was good.
Yeah. That is a fantastic creator and book that you need to check out, people.
You got Riptide thinking there.
That's the thing about comics, though, man, isn't it? Like, when you talk about the medium, we talk about the comics that we love reading and that we like making, but occasionally, just to talk about the art form and the medium, a conversation takes on a completely different sort of complexity, texture.
A lot of that stuff, you can't find that written down or generally talked about, rather than by creators who really kind of know their onions. If you pick up a making comics book, you'll never find stuff like that.
Oh man, I was chatting to Canon about this a few weeks ago. I think it was. It's like the amount of people seems to be on Substack a lot as well. Guide to making comics. I'm like, who the fuck are you?
I
you know what I mean?
Right. I thought about this the other day before we get into shouts and recommendation stuff. And it was like an Instagram video of like, okay, here's 5 books that you need to read if you're going to make comics. Instantly, I got my back sort of stiffened up a bit. Like, right, okay, because one, I won't have read any of them. I know immediately. Okay, and one, like there was obviously a few ones that we heard of. There's obviously the Scott McCloud one. That is always the go-to. Okay, but the thing about a lot of these books, and I say this as someone who hasn't read that. I know I should, and a lot of people haven't stuff. But people talk about these sometimes like, this is the way you do this. Whereas I think this is something to get you more informed. It's like a fucking textbook, educational textbook.
It really is. I'm so disappointed with that, because so many people just walk into comics thinking they can make comics. You don't just walk into novels never having read a novel. You don't walk into movies to make a movie never having seen a movie. If you want to walk in and make comics, don't just read these 5 fucking books. You got to get your shoulders under. You got to submerge yourself in the hobby. You got to read all different styles.
Is it Story by
McKee? I've read that and it's fucking bollocks.
But so many people treat that like, and I think there's been a wave, there's been
mathematical equation.
A generation of people. Then this is the way to do it. So let's do it like this. You see this wave, don't you? And then
someone pointed out all these kind of classic books. They weren't written to any kind of guides like that.
Yeah,
and they're fucking
and what we talked about with Cory there, who knows what he's doing, is there's an instinctual element to this. And what you didn't get, well, I think you're going to get a bit of it in a minute, is Cory just basically brought a load of books along he wanted to tell us about. Because he's excited about the medium. And to make comics, you got to read comics. And you got to read all sorts of things, but you especially have to read comics.
Like Sokyo X is, it's a book that's clearly, and I love that, like, Cory's got some text in the front of the issues, like, this book is, representation of the things that I like and the fiction that I have absorbed, and then, he puts it in a brilliant way in the comics. And it's clearly also, I get the anime and I get the video game inspiration, I totally see all of that. But what it is, first and foremost, it's a comic story, and it drives like a comic story. He's not trying to write a video game in a comic book format. He's not trying to do an anime in a comic book format. He's got his comic book story that he's telling. And also just talking to the guy, and like, you can tell, just people that love comics, they're just better people than anyone else.
I know. Comics is its own language. It really has to be learned. The big example of that is R.L. Stine or Rainbow Rowell or someone like that. R.L. Stine, famous, kids book writer. He's written loads of stuff. He's done talks on how to write. He goes in and writes man things. It's fucking awful.
Yeah.
Learn.
Doesn't know it.
Yeah. You got to learn it as a medium.
Yeah.
I'm sick of people who see it as a poor man's fucking way of doing something else, and they come in and think, oh, all right, comics, that'd be good to get a movie deal done. I was thinking, no, fucking learn comics.
Yeah.
The worst one in recent years, that fucking lady who played Daenerys.
Oh yeah,
whatever her name was.
Yeah. What was it? Cliff wrote a column about that, didn't he? What was her selling thing? That she went into a comic shop and they were all rude to her. Really?
Oh, they're rude to her. Right. Oh, we just had that recently as well. The Beat. Did you see that Beat article?
No.
There was like a girl who put on the Reddit subreddit saying, she had a hard time going into a comic shop, and Perch sort of said, if you had a hard time, you went to a restaurant and someone gave you a bit of a dickhead to you, wouldn't say, right, I'm never eating that cuisine again. I'm never going to restaurants again.
Yeah, it's like go to another one. There's fucking
You said you had a bad experience.
Find a comic shop in this country where they're going to give you shit for being a woman in a comic shop. It ain't happening anymore.
Yeah, you're joking.
It may have happened in the past. It ain't happening.
Yeah,
it's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
There's always an exception to that rule, but like the demographic, if you start talking about that, you're talking about a demographic of like 20 years ago of stuff like that happening. It's not the case.
Yeah, it is one of those things as well. Like, because sometimes when you're a comic person and you go into a comic book shop for the first time, It is. And I say this as a comic person going to a comic book shop. For the first one, it's an exciting moment. If that's a disappointment for you, I really feel for you. But try again. Just go to another one.
Mate, I could sit here and give you 20 reasons why I shouldn't shop in my current comic shop, because they're mostly James Hunts to me when I walk in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to. Fuck it. It's not because I'm a geezer.
Yeah. And also there's it's a shop at the end of the day.
Yeah. The manager of it's a good guy. I like him.
Yeah. And if you're one of those comic book shops that maybe you're listening to this during store hours, God bless you. Jesus.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But you're one of the good ones.
And if you haven't contacted this show before, and I say this, wherever you are in the world, by the way, wherever you are in the world, because if you think, they only about the UK scene, like if you're listening to this from Australia or something like that, there's probably someone else who's listening from Australia as well. So let us know about your comic shop.
We know there are.
Yeah, exactly. So please do let us know, and we'll shout out. We love discovering more comic book stores and people doing good work.
That's a big thing for me this year. I want to visit 10 new comic shops this year.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, I've done 6.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, we're fucking even way halfway through the year, so you're doing well.
I'm doing all right. Yeah.
And there's still plenty of the year to go, and plenty of shout-outs. What have we got this week, gents?
I've only got the one. So Glass City, Tales from the City, Volume 1. It's got, as we speak, a few more days left on Kickstarter. It's an anthology of stories. Some of the artists, there's a whole bunch of artists on it. It's all written by Dave Cranner. Steve Ingram, who we just mentioned. I didn't realise this. Fortunately, I backed it. Bunce, who's doing a story in this. Matt Bunce.
Oh, brilliant.
It's got some art in it. I love the Bunce. And Cole Henley. So there's a few Slack members who are in there as well. Go and back it. Dave's a good guy. He knows what he's doing. Go and have a look at that one.
Nice.
That's my only one.
Dan, what have you got?
I've got a couple. One of these got recommended to me. Can you give this a shout out? And I can't remember who said it. But it's called Super Kaiju Rock and Roll Derby Fun Time Go. That's the title.
Hang on. Right. Say that again.
Sounds like your dating category.
Super Kaiju Rock and Roll Derby Fun Time Go. I'll send you the link
definitely. That's in your Tinder profile, definitely.
This is the kind of title that maybe some of the covers might have had a hard time at Kickstarter last week, but they've currently received.
Oh, really? Oh, yes.
I think I'm not casting aspersions on it.
No.
Change direction.
Yeah.
I said we didn't realise how much money we're going to lose if we push that through.
Yeah.
So we've actually made an artistic decision to roll that back.
Yeah, but yeah, they've covered it in a fresh gloss of we listen to the community.
Yeah. That's the main thing we do is we listen.
Yeah. Whereas they went to the credit card people and said, "Do you realise how much money you're going to fucking lose?" And they were like, "Okay, we'll let it go this time."
We weren't listening at first, but now we're listening. Got The Gods and Monsters of Headgrave, 120-page alien conspiracy graphic novel by Jordan Thomas and Chris Matthews. You can notify for launch on that one. That hopefully will go live soon. So register interest there. We've got by Keiron Squires, After the Remnants, Chapter 2, Part 2 of the story Keiron's unfolding via Substack.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I've read a little bit far ahead because I've kind of bounced a few things back and forth from it. I really enjoy it. So do go check that one out. I think that's it for me.
Nice. I just got one honourable mention. That's to Edison Neo. As we speak, there's 4 days left to go on his Ink Trooper Volume 1, the collection of commissioned artwork. Absolutely smashed its goal.
Awesome.
And he's unlocked. Blimey. There's quite a few. There's a couple of things unlocked on there.
Got one more as well.
Oh.
Comicsassemble.net.
Yes.
A democratic celebration of comics by creators. August 15th, 2026. Gloucester Leisure Centre.
Is that the whole address?
Yeah.
That was,
Gloucester,
I think I just heard Dan reboot.
Yeah. It's the heat. Gloucester Leisure Centre. August 15th, 2026. Go check it out. Comicsassemble.net.
Think how bad you feel. Think how your balls are. Mine are fucking boiling.
Yeah.
Wow.
How Pascal and
Brian is Brian and Pascal.
Brian. Yeah.
Brian.
Have you got a third one called Xavier?
Well, he's singing.
Tony, this is a shock. This is talk about a twist. The fan art we're gonna get. Cliff's already at his sketchbook as we speak.
Tony's third ball. Yeah.
Xavier.
Right.
Nice.
Pascal. Now, so Brian was considering changing his name to French because Pascal gets all the attention.
That's fair, yeah.
Does he?
That's his original name was.
But he's lower though, isn't he? Pascal's lower.
Yeah, but he's more casual. Pascal. Yeah. He's seen as the cooler one.
More laid back.
Yeah. I mean, being the cool one's probably a better thing to be right now.
Brian's doing all the work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On that bombshell.
In a teabagging situation, Pascal.
Oh dear! You can get coffee in a bag now as well.
Who dunks 2 tea bags? What kind of weirdo does that?
Oh, I mean, I've accidentally put 2 tea bags in once, and I've realised, it's just sort of like
you panicked, didn't you? Because that's a few quid, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm like, oh fuck. Oh god, I'm so old. Right. Anyway,
coffee.
That's a few quid. 2 tea bags.
Financial crisis. Think of Iran.
It is. Yeah. Some people probably heard that and went, oh, "Fucking flash bastard."
Yeah. He dries them out, keeps them for 3 times.
Yeah, you should see my fucking washing line out there. It's just tea bags.
Tea bags. That's what you thought teabagging was.
Yeah, I just thought, well, I do it once a week. Yeah, all the neighbours can see it. Anyway, speaking of which, it's time for things that you need to see and read with your eyeballs. But now you're going to listen with your ears because it's quite hot and we need to get through this before we all die. So it's time for the recommendations. Tony, you got a couple this week, haven't you?
Well, one's very short, and then I'll do another one, and then I'll finish us all off with the third one. But first one, Exciting Comics, issue 62 from Antarctic Press. I don't think we talked about them for a while, actually.
No, and I was thinking about this because I've seen some exciting comic stuff on Global, and Antarctic really sort of sparked my interest because obviously Ben Dunn was, I remember like back in the day with Gold Digger.
That's still going, isn't it?
That's Antarctic, one of the US Indian small press sort of publishers that have been going for years now. I know they cater to certain markets, but fucking fair play to them. Do you know what I mean? That's But carry on.
So this is sent in by the writer of one of the stories in issue 6, or the story for issue 62, called Midwest Man of Power. But the writer is also our buddy called Larry Stahl from American Nature, who thank you, Larry. He gives us a shout out every so often on his Substack. Well worth signing up for.
Thank you.
Obviously, I'm a contributor to American Nature. It's a great little magazine series, and it's associated with the Santos sisters, who are about to launch Volume 2 of the Fantagraphics collections. The last one was a big Eisner winner and a beautiful collection, and we got them on to chat about it. So it's no spoilers on this one because it's a pre-order and it comes out on August the 12th, so you can pre-order it at the moment. Art by Gianmario Orlandi, colours by Vladimir Popov. Letters by Mateus Hulko. It's a great little story about an underachieving second-generation superhero. So we have these the son of whoever or the daughter of whoever is the new character carrying the torch, and but this one is particularly a particular shit magnet. Put it that way. Nothing goes right for him, and he doesn't really help himself either. So it's a nice little twist on that sort of superhero thing. Keep an eye out for it. For the pre-order, Exciting Comics issue 62. I don't think it's quite up on the FP site yet, but it should be soon. Meanwhile, go and sign up to the American Nature Substack, and you can see Larry, who, if he's anything like, I've never met him in person actually, if he's anything like his Substack, is the most excited man about comics in the world. That's how it works, which is a marvellous little read every so often. Yeah. So Exciting Comics issue 62. My second one.
I tell you what, people being excited about comics is a joyful thing. If you're on the online space, sometimes it feels like no one's excited about them. Like a lot of people have problems with them. A lot of people want to critique, or they have an angle or something like that. Sometimes they just want someone who's just excited about them. It's joy, isn't it?
It's certainly him.
Well, Cory just fucking sold Biomeca to all three of us.
Yeah, and Guyver to me.
Yeah. Well, more on that.
I've got it on my Amazon thing now. I'm just making sure I don't buy the fucking German language edition, which I've done.
Again,
yeah. But Tony, what? Sorry, before I cut you.
My second one is Tower Dreams. It's from Bristol's own Richard Starzecki. It's first off, thanks to Richard for drawing us three into a 3-piece German cosmic rock band on the enclosed postcard. I think I sent you it, didn't I?
Yeah,
that's picture up there.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's good, Dan.
Yeah, Van Claff. The comic is a short story. It's a limited color palette A5 cardstock DIY format. Lovely little thing. There's a quite nice little introduction by Richard about the sort of the origins and the reasons and the inspirations for this book. First off is the Cheese Lane Shot Tower in Richard's adopted city of Bristol, which apparently is a bit of a landmark. And this image here is an upside down version of it. You see what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
I'll talk about the cover in a second. And the other is the 1962 J.G. Ballard short story, The Watchtowers, which I haven't read. I do like Ballard. I've read quite a lot of Ballard, but I don't think I've read that short story. Any of you guys?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
It's handled differently from the Ballard, from what I've read of the summary of the Ballard book, but it's no less an interesting story. And this is much more uplifting than I think the Ballard thing was. The cover depicts, for those that can't see it, because I'm holding up to the camera to the boys, but those that can't see it, depicts an upside down tower, peeking down, a sort of purple tower, peeking down through red clouds. I'm going to ignore the Freudian nature of that image.
I was thinking that.
Just for a second, and swerve the implications of that image in the review. But I'm not sure if he knows what I'm sure he does. Richard's a great creator. But it involves a bald in that tower, in the bottom bit, in the sort of viewing bay, is a scientist. But he's one of those classic. He's like the scientist in Futurama. He looks a bit. He's got like bald-headed glasses, lab coat, and he's looking out, and he's looking down on the people and a woman who lives below him. He looks at his. I think their job of that tower is to observe the down below and the rows of houses. And there's a woman in it. It's short. It's wordless. I'm not going to spoil the ending. It's a nice little ending. I might tell you guys afterwards. It's just a nice little series. It's very few pages. Just a nice little series of nice and almost a 9-panel grid on occasion. He plays it a little bit differently on occasion, but it's that limited color palette works perfectly as well, I think. And the sort of penultimate page has that bit there. If you can see that, which was just a lovely little moment, and I really liked it. And one of these comics that you'll read, you'll enjoy. I think that's fun. Put it in a long box, and as I'm doing today, I'm doing some sort of long boxes today and cataloguing them, which is a big mistake in this weather. But I keep finding these little comics and thinking, oh, remember that? It's just a nice little story. There's no Spider-Man, there's no cosmic event. It's just this nice little story. And Richard Starzecki, look him up on Instagram. It's probably the best way to find him. Tower Dreams. I'm not sure how many he's printed. It doesn't really say. This comic would not have been possible without the support, help, and love from Carrie, Rufus, Magnus, and all the Cube, and all the watchers and listeners. That's a nice little thing. So, and the little postcard he's done is this thing called Transfer of Power, which is a little sort of screen printed type thing. Yeah, that's my second one. There you go, guys.
Nice. Dan, what have you got?
I have got a book you've already read before, but I decided to dip my toes in the water because I fancied to go with it, and that's Tigress Island.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, it's getting some heat now, this, I see.
Yeah.
I'm on issue 2, up to issue 2 on
Yeah.
Global.
Yeah.
It's, even though it isn't, it feels very Nazi exploitation.
Yeah. We talked about this, didn't we? This sort of Sybil Danning, Isla She-Wolf.
Yeah.
It's
kind of, you very much feel that these kind of like 6 girls have been abducted after going to like some very shady social event, and they wind up on this island where it seems to be a bit of a harem for, looks like a sort of like a James Bond villain. And
I think you'll find if you look at his Substack, he uses some sort of those sort of grindhouse exploitation, Nazi exploitation movies in a little advert, doesn't he? I think so. He's definitely pushing that vibe, I think.
Oh god, yeah.
I love the art of this book. It's so good. I've read both.
The main lady, bad guy antagonist, she's very much kind of like drawing on that Isla She-Wolf of the SS kind of look. Kind
Best
of like
film ever
tight
made.
leather belts, fucking guns like bursting out of her top, and I think we agreed that the artist is called Epic. EPHK.
Oh yeah, of course,
right?
yeah.
Do I like that? I don't know. It's written by Patrick Kindlon. Epic's art is fucking great. He's absolutely fantastic. He kind of draws very cute, very attractive women. He's got some fantastic movement and action sequences. There's a moment when there's one of them hanging out of a shipping crate, and a huge table comes slamming out, and it's just really well done. Excuse me a sec. Excuse me. So I really enjoyed it. I'll go check it out on Global now. It's only 5 issues long, and we're on to 2.
Is it 5 issues and done? Is it or?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. There'll probably be a few people waiting for the trade on this, but I think it's worth checking it out as it comes out.
It's on Global. I'll give it a go. Yeah.
It's worth.
Yeah, it looks great.
Worth
and the story itself is sort of like it's almost like it's written completely straight, like serious, which makes it funny. Does that make you know how a lot of these exploitation and these satirical sort of stories they're treated completely serious, which is what makes a lot of it like larger than life, isn't it? And
there's none of the kind of look at the camera winking kind of
no or terrible like dialogue and stuff like that. It doesn't really it's all the kind of girls have got their own personality, and through sort of like not flashbacks you sort of they narrate something about why they were there, but you get to see their inner thoughts behind the panel, and they may have been doing sex work, they may have been involved in crime or drugs or something, and that's how they've kind of fallen off the beaten path and ended up in this kind of very shady place. I did struggle. There's a moment where a lady, like the book Clockwork Orange, there's the way of they speaking, and it's kind of like not written. It's written very in a stylized way. You sort of read it phonetically. There's a couple of characters who talk like that, and I've really fucking struggled.
Right.
I think that's massively subjective for me. I think I needed to kind of like just lose myself in for it. Maybe say the words out loud to kind of get. But it's like a lady speaking like African, and they kind of like do it like it sounds, and it's really careful. Like I was kind of like I kind of feel weird about this. I don't know how I feel about this. Do you know what I mean? When I was reading it, but
it can come off the wrong way sometimes.
I don't want to editorialize further on that. It's up to you.
Yeah.
How you feel about that?
I'll get quickly, just to interject, harking back to last week when we talked about the Absolute books. I decided to read Absolute Flash, and I'm glad. I think I should have just, in retrospect, avoided it anyway.
Oh fuck!
No, just a very empty experience. Yeah, nothing compared to the other books I'd read.
Okay,
what about Manhunter?
Sorry, mate.
Have you read Manhunter?
No, that's next actually. So next on my list. I know a couple of guys.
That's one that's been getting a lot. That's got.
That's
getting a bit of buzz, isn't it?
Yeah, it has been getting a lot of buzz. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to sort of making my own mind up on that one. I think. Yeah. Visually, from a distance, it looks very interesting. I want to see if the writing holds up as well. Yeah.
We get more heat than this afternoon. There's another weather call back there.
Yeah, nice.
Got the day off tomorrow, aren't we? So I can do a load of comic reading then.
As we're all losing pounds by the minute. Not just money. I want this week. What's wrong with my fucking jokes this week?
Fine.
Got the wrong box of dad jokes. I mean, on
it's
brand.
You're too concentrating on. Can you really use tea bags twice?
Yeah. The answer is yes. Especially if it's not payday yet. You got to be careful. Now, I got issue 1 of 5 of a book that I was very interested in, and the cover drew me in. And when I opened it, it's a completely different world that I was expecting, and I'm intrigued by this. Death Fight Forever. It came out in February actually. It was on my sort of list for a while, and I picked it up from Comixology. Have you seen this, Tony?
I don't know. Not sure.
This is an Andrew Maclean joint. Andrew Maclean of Headlocker. He's the writer and creator and designer of Cover A. Now, it's sort of set up like a video game, and those who know, I think it's Final Fight, one of the sort of painted artworks. I could be wrong, and there's another thing I was wrong on that I need to point out later that I said earlier in the show. Actually, I'm going to say it now. David Hayter was not the voice of EA Sports.
Right.
But he did write the first X-Men film. Anyway,
okay, really?
Yep, and he co-wrote X2 and Watchmen.
All right.
Knowledge for you.
Interesting.
Dude likes his comics. Wonder if we can get him on the show. Anyway, but Death Fight Forever, it's got it's a homage cover by Maclean of Headlopper fame, obviously. That's set up like a video game box. It actually says Maclean 2025 after Kazumi Kakizaki, who I think must have done the original artwork for Final Fight. I think it was Final Fight. I need to do the reference though. But it was definitely a classic video game bit of artwork. And I thought, oh great, we're going to have like a Final Fight sort of, homage to that. And certainly, I'm sure that this is only the first issue I'm talking about. When you open it up, there's bright neon colours and fonts. The artist for the first issue is Alexis Azirit. In the credits for issue 1, it's also got lots of other artists, like artists chapter 3, 4, and 5, because it's a 5-issue miniseries, which confused me because I suddenly thought they were part of this issue. But I can tell you for certain that Erwin Papa is not one of the artists in this. Okay. So it was weird for them to put the art. It was almost like this is the credits for the trade that they've put in the individual issue. Do you know what I mean? It's
not like variant covers.
No, because they've got like a. I mean, there is the cover. They've got a couple of listings for covers, but no, it is the artist for the other chapters. Wow. But chapter 1 is issue 1, and it's all about Bash Biggle. Who is Bash Biggle? Well, the super thief Bruiser brothers, Crash and Bash Biggle, jump into action to help Commander Thunderfang fight interdimensional crime boss Lord Slither. But a run-in with Marla Mendoza, leader of the Cops gang, that's Cops with a Z, and Slither's most formidable loyalist, changes the course of Bash's life forever. It's an action comedy, obviously from Maclean, and there's when it says on the image one, a gonzo artist Alexis Zirit. Space Riders. Haven't read that. Might have to read that after.
Yeah, I've read that, yeah.
Because when I opened this... Right. So I was expecting a certain type of book. And when I opened it, it felt small press. I got tribute vibes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We're friends with Zirit. Yeah, we tabled next to him at Heroes.
The first one, I mean, totally. If you see I think the first one's on Global as well.
I'll just tell you, the first time I met Zirit is he ran over and very excitedly told us he'd found the room that we could go to and get free crisps.
Oh, what a legend! What a legend! And he certainly has like a lot of fun energy to his comics. But the colouring, just everything, you got to see it for yourself. It was totally not what I expected. But a few pages in, it kind of went up levels for me. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
In a way that I didn't expect. I was like, wow, this wasn't the music I was expecting, but I'm really into it. It was that kind of stuff. Who knows if that will change for the subsequent chapters, but certainly something really fun. But there was a kind of a tribute vibe. It's almost like tribute made a video game comic book, with less salacious. No one's getting beaten to death with a cock. But who knows? That could happen later in the series.
Some of these comics do have their failings.
Yeah, they do. They do. But there's if it's catches your eye, folks. Let me know what the further issues are like, because I think sometimes with an issue one it can be quite spenny. So, and sometimes the prices don't go down. That sounds so tight-fisted, but there's only so many comics you can buy a week, and sometimes when the budget, when you have to cut your losses on some issues because of budget, do you know what I mean? It's like, I really like that, but the price hasn't dropped for the subsequent issues a little bit. That sounds really tight, doesn't it? But do you know what? Do you know what I mean though? It's like I can't keep paying for this for something that I think, yeah, I'd rather spend the money on something I'm really invested in. But saying that,
totally,
I might go back to this if the prices drop on the digitals on some of them. But the Death Fight Forever is definitely should be on your radar. It's a fun one. I didn't expect it from Andrew Maclean as well, because I know Headlopper is like his. I haven't seen anything else. I
read the new Headlopper the other day.
Yeah, what is that any good? There's an advert for that.
Not as good as the past ones, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, that's a shame.
It lost a bit of the energy.
Yeah, I got the trade. I love the trades and stuff that I got on my shelf.
That's the artwork for Double Dragon.
Double Dragon, that was the one. I know. Final Fight was a sort of a Double Dragon with a Michael Bay budget, wasn't it? Really.
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong, and I love both of them before anyone starts on me. But yeah, check it out. See what you think. Shall we, Tony? You've got another one for our listeners. But should we pop in a little special that we've got here? Dan
let's do that.
Briefly mentioned it. What's this recommendation?
This is like my favorite cartoonist. His name is Tsutomu Nihei, and he does like a series called called Blame. So that's what his art looks like.
I've heard of Blame, yeah.
Yeah, so he did Blame, and then he did this, and this is like the more grounded, easy to kind of decode work. Nice. So his action is like, it really
nice, like, heavy dark inks in that as well.
Yeah, so he
look at that.
Blame the series, he got known as like the black finger artist, because like because so this is the side of his book, but like in Blame there's even more black. So people would get their hands like dirty from reading the book. So they call him like the black finger artist.
What's his name again? I just want
his name is, let me see if I can put it clear.
If you look up Biomeca, it'll come up.
This is how it's spelled. TSUTOMU, and then Nihei, Nihei.
Is that Japanese manga, is it, or is it?
Yeah, it's Japanese. He's a Japanese dude, and has very Japanese sensibilities. In terms of storytelling, but not in terms of theme. Very sci-fi, like hard. Not hard, like hard, like he never explains anything. So it's not hard sci-fi in terms of him explaining it, but it's like the world itself is built. Speaking of like world building stuff that you guys were talking about, like so much is there, but you only get like a tiny bit of it, and you kind of have to piece together the background.
I love all that. I love that. Don't spoon feed your readers. Just put them in a world and let them discover it. You know what I mean?
The synopsis sounds
fucking
great.
amazing. I've just googled some of the images.
I might order this.
Brilliant.
I highly recommend Biomeca because it's only 6 volumes.
Oh, that's even better.
One of the things that I am a big fan of with Biomeca specifically, and that kind of had an influence on Sokyo X, is the structure of 6 and the way that the story is structured. So Biomeca and Akira, like Biomeca follows Akira's story structure in terms of events. And then Sokyo X kind of has that a little bit, but that I was really like surprised because Biomeca is not like Akira in any way other than being like sci-fi and crazy. But yeah, I really recommend it in terms of just it's a big inspiration on me, but how he does the action, like it'll really like punch you in the face, like how some things, like he'll put a guy's gun like facing you and about to be shot, and then you turn the page and the gun has like already shot and like broken through a bunch of buildings, and you kind of feel the impact of like all of the events in between, like kind of how McLeod talks about how what happens between the panels is where you feel the story. Like he really plays with that a lot in the action. So it's like when you put the pieces together, it's like so much more impactful in terms of like visceral action.
And yes, Tony's ordered it, and we've got it on our Amazon wish list. And it sounds amazing.
I'm easily influenced, but Cory managed to sell quite a few things to me there.
Yeah. I mean, all you got to do is think that sounds quite interesting. Just Google like an image search, and you look at a couple of lines, and you think, I'm buying this, then, aren't I?
Yeah. Sometimes all it takes is just someone be excited about it.
Exactly.
I don't look at it.
Yeah.
That's infectious.
And he showed us some pages, like literally on the screen, didn't he? So he was pointing out artwork, and it was like, okay. So yeah,
I read a synopsis about something about a virus that kills everyone of these zombie things. I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Nice.
One of the ones that we'll have to talk about this one day. One of the things that gets me is alien invasion. I'm on board. Earth gets invaded by aliens.
Really?
Fuck it.
Really?
Yeah.
Perhaps that's another. What is the pitch that you're always? Have we spoken about it before? Something you're
a little
always.
Bit. Yeah,
I think we have.
Yeah, we've done it.
Because alien invasion, we're all good guys now, and they're all bad guys. It's really easy to
even the bad guys join together with the good guys. And, I like that. Yeah. The mini series had a big effect on me when I was like 14 or something.
Oh man, that was We talked about it before, but the whole revelation that actually they're going to eat people when they're all lizards, I was like,
they were collecting the water to kill us all, and
yeah.
And plus there's a few like Diana's in it, and the woman from the villains in Superman, she's in it. There's a few people.
Freddy Krueger's in it.
And you discovered, I'm not a boy, I'm a man.
Michael Ironside's in it as well.
Fucking hell, love your Ironside.
Ever.
Do you remember his name? Character's name.
Was he a bad guy?
Ham.
Yeah.
Was his name Ham?
Yeah.
And he had that guy with him, a bit of sort of overweight, meant to be a mercenary. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was basically like, if there was trouble in the world, like a government uprising, he was there at one point. He's a real AA hard bastard.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, with the good guys rebelling against the aliens, he's like, this is my fucking jam.
Yeah.
And starts kicking some ass.
Big Finish did their own. They said, right, we're doing V the mini series, but we're doing it if it happened in London. And I thought, right, fuck me, I'm in on this. Yeah. And it's basically this. They just copied the whole story. It's like even the beats are the same.
Okay.
Just with English people. What the fuck's this?
What's this?
Anyway.
He's called Pork instead of Ham.
Yeah.
Roast pork.
Oh dear. Anyway, Tony, what have you got for us?
My last one is Faces of War, issue 1. Thanks to Peter Duncan for sending this through to us. One of a number of comics he and Sector 13 will be prepping for the release at Enniskillen, a convention I'm desperate to get to one day if I can. Looks really good. Have you seen it? You know, sort of a 2000.
Yeah, we heard about it. Yeah, it made was it last year or the year before? There was a lot of big shakes about it, weren't there? I think
it's on at Cannon met when Cannon met Alan Davis. Do you remember there was that big? Yeah, I've never seen anyone more happy. Which is brilliant. So this is an anthology of stories that take place in different wars, and in all honesty, there's not a bad one in it. Genuinely, not a bad one in it. Really good stuff. I can't cover them all because there's 96 pages of it, but black and white and colour stories. Gorgeous cover by Will Simpson, who I know does a lot of the Sector 13 stuff, doesn't he? He's done their Dog Breath one and everything. Their Strontium Dog one, rather. It's a British soldier with him in a machine gun nest, firing the machine gun towards the reader, but behind him is just hell on earth. You know, it's smoke and red earth and everything's been destroyed. So I thought I'd talk about just a couple of my favourite stories in here. The King's Reach Commandos. Any clue there with that title? Do you know what's coming there? King's Reach.
Go on.
King's Reach Tower, maybe.
No.
It's called I Am the Law. Story by Paul Trimble. Inspiration Dave Hunt. Art Joseph McCafferty. Letters Patrick Brown. So here are the commandos in the title. Wagner.
Right. Okay.
He's a big old fucking unit. Mills, aka Mills Bomb, explosives expert. Codename Hunt, McManus, and they're joined by Codename Squira. And it's just classic Where Eagles Dare kind of fucking stuff. Parachuting behind enemy lines, breaching a Nazi-held castle, and experiment lab, and blowing the whole shit up, which is just brilliant. He draws them so well. It just like it. It's a lovely homage, but it's just a fun comic to read as well.
That sounds great.
And they've all got something to say. Nobody's a bad guy. They're all like fucking on the right side, and do you know what I mean? Woodbine Willie, aka Jeffrey Studdert Kennedy. The story, life, and poetry of a forgotten war poet, with some of his poems illustrated brilliantly by our buddy Mal Earl. I mean, the thing is, we all know about Siegfried Sassoon and Wilfred Owen, don't we, from sort of sixth form and O-level GCSE poetry readings, but he's a bit of a sort of somebody I hadn't heard of. I think it's because maybe he's a little bit more upbeat than the usual sort of darkness of the Black Dog in World War One, you know. Yeah. But he's a army chaplain, and he's quite famous for venturing out over the top to offer aid to those injured and dying, and he would give them cigarettes, which is why it's called Woodbine Willie. But they illustrate some of his poetry. It's lovely. It's really, and there's like a nice summary of his life and stuff like that. Verdammt Major, my favourite art in the issue, I think this is also by Mallow. It reminds me of the movie Cross of Iron, if you've seen that, which is kind of.
Is that George Peppard?
No, it's
that's the Blue Max.
Yeah, who did Convoy and The Wild Bunch, and it's that director
Sam
anyway.
Peckinpah.
It's a Pam Peckinpah movie about German soldiers and just the reality of war. Some just heartbreaking and violent moments in it and stuff. It's quite famous where they go to an event where the women come along to dance with the soldiers, and one of the soldiers turns his head and he's got like a massive Mars bar on his face, all sewn up. Have you seen that moment?
That's a scar. That's a scar for people who don't know, just in case they think he's actually got a Mars bar on his face.
To his face, but it's got that effect, and it's saying there's a difference between the psychotic SS officers and the frontline normal men and women, or mostly men in this case, who were like in the war, and there's a machine gun in it, and it's there's a little bit of revenge, there's a little bit of mercy told in it, and it's all in black and white, absolutely gorgeous. There's, I don't know if you've seen, is it Band of Brothers, where they go into that massive fight that happens in a town, and there's whole buildings being knocked down, and there's tanks, and it's just so much energy, and are they going to live, and you don't know, and it's a bit like, it's that sort of setting for it. It's absolutely superb war anthology. I mean, I guess there's was it Battle was 50 years old? Was it earlier this year? I think. So there's a bit, I can see why they've done it. Just a bit of like, let's applaud Battle, and there's a few homages in here and stuff like that. And it's partly a la Battle, it's partly a la Commando, but it's also partly Bond Détonné. I think there's a detail and a richness to a lot of what goes on in it as well, which sort of seeps over into the sort of French Belgian side of things. You can contact them at admin@sector13comics.co.uk. You can go and buy anything by this firm. They're a great little bunch of people. boxofrainmag.co.uk/splank, SPLANK. So boxofrainmag.co.uk/splank. That's my last one. He sent three through. I'm not. I think I'm trying to remember. I think you might have sent them to my email, but I'll forward them to you later. But they're really good.
Legend.
Yeah.
Legend. And there you go, folks. Loads of stuff for you to check out this coming week, wherever you are in the world. And thank you very much for listening to this week's show. It's going to be a Three Amigos for the next one. A bit of fun, and expect thank you to everyone who listened to the last time we were ranting and raving, and keep the conversation going in many different ways. You can email us, awesomecomics.pod@gmail.com. Likewise, if you've got any, if you've got a book you want us to check out, or if you've got an event you'd like us to shout out, please do get in touch. You can also follow us on social media at Awesome Comics Pod on Insta, at the Awesome Pod on X, which is still alive. Thank God, because I almost deleted it recently. And thank you for listening to us, whether it was on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com, on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe, get a review, helps get the word of the show out to even more people. Algorithms and stuff, they're really weird.
A review on their
please do. It does help.
It does help. And I don't understand. Algorithms are really weird now. I don't know how it all works. I never knew it, but we really appreciate it, and especially if you're enjoying the show, it really helps us out. Likewise, you can do the same on Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife. What other networks are we on, Tony?
We're on the Pod Network. Moses supposes his toesies are rosies.
And I tell you what, the fact that you managed that right now is astonishing.
Yeah, I watched Singing in the Rain today. They said that.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's lovely. Lovely. Yeah. We need a bit of rain right now. There you go. That's the last weather mention of the week. Please do join us on Slack. That's basically our Discord. A wonderful community of people on there. Loads of different channels, podcast discussions, general discussions, art threads. If you've got a Kickstarter you want to let more people know about, then join the community. Get involved because there's a load of great people on there. And we love you all who's on there. Much like, follow us on Substack. Just search for the Awesome Comics Podcast. You'll find us on there, where we'll be posting up artwork from the books we talked about, and you can download the episode there. If you did download it from there, thank you very much. If you're a Substack listener / reader, thank you very much. We're going to be
I know there's quite a few of you out there.
Yeah, we're going to be adding taking some stuff from the vault and giving it a second breath of life, dusting it off and giving it a breath of life. So stay tuned for that soon. If you want to help support the show and keep the lights on and keep us in blue M&Ms, acpgear.redbubble.com. Buy a shirt, buy a sticker, buy something for your mum or your dad,
do it,
or whoever, and we'll love you forever for it. And speaking of us, Where can people find us online, etc.? Tony?
Neverwriteanything.com or Substack, Tony Ez, EZ.
Nice. Dan?
You can find me on Twitter at Vanguard Comic and can read Vanguard at vanguardcomic.com.
Nice. You can find me on social media at Just the Diablo. Thank you again, everyone, for sticking with us for another fantastic episode of Comics Chat. See you here next same bat time, same bat channel for more of the same. Until then, I guess you've just got to go forth and keep reading lots of comics that make you excited about the medium. Keep making the comics that you're excited about making. And there's... Oh, fucking hell, I forget it every week. What's the third thing they should do, guys?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.